All righty, guys. All Facts Media here. My name is Andrew Robinson, joined again by my twin brother, Aaron Robinson today. Today we have another episode of Coach's Corner, and today we are joined by current South Alabama head men's basketball coach, Richie Riley. So, Coach, thanks for coming on with us today.
Yeah, it's an honor to be on with you guys. I've been following you closely as you started this up, and you guys are killing it out there. You had awesome segments, really good guests. You broke some commitments, which is big time. I've enjoyed following you guys, and I know the best is yet to come for what you all are doing.
Thanks a lot, Coach. We appreciate that.
We kind of want to first talk about you, Coach, and your journey into coaching here. We know before you were at Clemson as an assistant coach. You've been at Nicholls as well before you were at South Alabama. So, kind of talk about your journey into coaching. What kind of got you here today?
Yeah, I've had a really unique path. When you look at Division I head coaches across the country, my path is kind of different than almost any of them that you'll find. I knew I wanted to coach basketball when I was 8 years old. I asked for a dry erase board for Christmas. My parents didn't even know what that was. And I just kind of knew I wanted to do that. And I was an okay player in high school, had a good career, and walked on and played at Eastern Kentucky for a season. But I always knew I wanted to coach. So my first opportunity came at Georgetown College, an NAIA school in Kentucky. And I volunteered, and I was a glorified manager. I washed clothes. I did whatever they told me to do, picked up lunch for everybody, just trying to get a start. And from there, I ended up going to Hawaii. I went to Hawaii Pacific University, worked for $8,000 a year, man. I think it was actually $8,500. So I got a credit card, ran that joker up to about $6,000 just to survive. It was paying my rent, just anything just to survive. Honolulu is obviously really expensive to live. Yeah. And being an only child from Kentucky, a country kid from Kentucky, my family thought I was a lunatic, but I went out there anyway because I had a dream and a passion to try to make a career out of it. And I was fortunate to get to come back to Kentucky after that, and I worked at Pikeville College for 3 years, and that's an NAIA Power, one of the best NAIA programs in America. And then, a funny story is I went to Arkansas Fort Smith, and it had just turned Division II. It was a JUCO powerhouse, and they had just made the transition to Division II. And I got there, and I was there for 3 weeks. And Cliff Ellis called me from Coastal Carolina and offered me an opportunity to interview for the job. So I went to my boss there, who's a good friend of mine. Don't hold this against him, and I don't blame him now looking back as I'm a head coach. But I went to him, and I said, can I interview at Coastal? It's my dream to be a Division I assistant coach. And he told me if I go interview, then I better get the job, which essentially meant there is no job if I go interview. I thought about it 24 hours, packed all my stuff up in the car, and took off. And turned in my letter of resignation, and I burned the boats, which is a mantra that I use and our program uses. And I went to Coastal and interviewed for 48 hours and got the job. And from there, I really have been blessed and fortunate. I went to Eastern Kentucky for a year after spending 2 at Coastal. Then from there to UAB to work for Jared Hass, who's at Stanford now. We had 2 good years, and they continued to go to the NCAA tournament after that and upset Iowa State. But I went to Clemson for 2 years with Brad Brownell. And then at Clemson, Nicholls State, which a lot of people hadn't heard of at the time, showed some interest. And I chased the job and pursued it really hard. And I burned the boats again and took that job and took a pay cut to go be a head coach. Something that a lot of people don't necessarily do, but I kind of bet on myself, and the people at Nicholls State were really good people, and I felt like we could win, and fortunately we did. And then I got this job, a job that I had looked at and really wanted for a long time. It's a special situation. I think it has a chance to be one of the best mid-major schools in the country. So we're excited about what we're doing here. I'm getting ready to start year 3. We just completed year 2, and that's kind of been my journey. It's been really, really unique, I think. And, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for all those experiences that I've been blessed enough to see.
One thing that's interesting to me is like when you talk to a lot of these coaches and, you hear, the journey that a lot of them took, so different. Obviously yours is one, a lot of, jumping out on a whim and taking chances, and believing in yourself and betting on yourself and, finally being able to get here today. Obviously, you've got some players, that you recruited that have, kind of mocked that same ideology, betting on themselves and, just great guys. I think, how do you think that kind of translates, your style as a person as well as how that fits into the type of player that you recruit?
yeah, we recruit a certain type of dude because it takes a certain type of dude to be successful with how we do things and how we work. And I like guys that are like me. I like guys that have been underdogs and have had to fight and scrap for everything that they've gotten in basketball. And those guys really translate playing in our program. And I've been fortunate, man, to have some really, really good players. I don't care how good you can coach or what type of culture you have. You're not winning without really good players. And I've been fortunate we've been able to get some of those guys. A lot of guys you guys know really, really well from up your way. And those guys have been instrumental in what we've been able to do. But I believe in that. I like guys, number one in our program, you gotta love basketball. It's got to be outside of your family and your religious belief. It's got to be who you are as, a person. Obviously you got to do the academics, and we do that here. We have a great graduation rate, always have. But, you got to love hoops. You got to eat, sleep, and breathe hoops. And you got to want to compete. And because our program is really competitive, and you got to want to do that every day. And you got to want to be really good, man. And, I've been fortunate. We've been right a lot more than we've been wrong in recruiting. Nobody's batting 1,000, but we've done a good job evaluating guys. And we've got a lot of guys that have been through some things, which has been awesome. Some of your guys, Roddy Peters is a great example. He went from being top 40 in the country out of high school to, didn't work out at Maryland, didn't work out at South Florida, and we got him at Nicholls State and kind of helped him not only on the court, but just to continue to mature. He's an unbelievable kid and obviously really talented, and he was phenomenal for us. But that's one of the stories that I'm really proud of what he was able to do with his career at our place.
I mean, you mentioned coaching under Coach Brownell at Clemson, coaching under Jared Haas as well. I mean, and you, like I said, you definitely were well journeyed. So you coached under a lot of great coaches, I'm sure. What is something that you've been able to take from a lot of those coaches and kind of implement into your own coaching style today?
Yeah, I think as coaches, we have to do a good job of continuing to learn at every opportunity we get. I think that's part of trying to be the best coach that you can be. And I'm learning every day. I still have a lot to learn, and I'm trying to grab things and, any way that I can to continue to improve. But, the guys that I work for, especially at the Division I level, Cliff Ellis was the first coach that I worked for. And, he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. He's close to 800 career wins. And, I really learned from him about building a program. Every spot he's been at, has been tough. He built this program here at South Alabama and helped, get that started many, many years ago before any of us were born. And he got this program started. And then he was at Auburn. He was actually at Clemson first, and he won an ACC championship at Clemson, which is unbelievable. You beat those blue bloods, Duke and Carolina and all those guys. It's not easy to do. And at Auburn, he had Auburn #1 in America, which is, phenomenal to think about, and, just being able to learn from a veteran like that helped me. And then I went to Eastern Kentucky with Jeff Neubauer, who's the head coach at Fordham now. And I learned an attention to detail. He's very detail oriented. He was under John Beeline for, I think, 10 or 11 years before he became a head coach. And his attention to detail is second to none. And then from there, I went with Jared Haas, and I learned the value of family, having a culture of family within your program. He's the best I've ever seen at that, of caring about his staff, caring about his guys, and his teams play so hard because they know how much he cares about them and loves them. And, that's what we do here. We have a family here, from the managers in our program to the walk-ons to our leading scorers. Everybody's the same. Everybody has value that they bring to our program, and we make sure that they feel that, and we make sure that they know that they're cared about outside of what they do on the court. And then with Brad Brownell, a culture of work. We pride ourselves here on outworking, everybody. We work relentlessly on our craft. Our kids live in a gym. We put a lot of time into this. And at Clemson, I learned that, you're competing against the Dukes, the Louisvilles, the North Carolinas, the Virginias, the best of the best. I think the ACC is our best basketball league in all of America. And Clemson is, trying to fight and scrap to be really good. And, you got to do that sometimes without the 5 stars there. And I learned a culture of work of getting guys better. So every guy that I've worked for, man, I've really taken something from, and I'm thankful I've worked for some really, really good coaches and had an opportunity to learn.
kind of switching gears a little bit, obviously, right now we are in an unprecedented, time period in our country right now with this coronavirus pandemic that has, really put a halt on really everything in the world, whether it's sports or, regular life. And obviously, with respect to college basketball, it's stopped, the spring recruiting. There's uncertainty about whether the summer recruiting period is going to happen, if we're even going to have summer classes. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have already turned to online learning and stuff. So, how was this? Obviously it ended you guys' season in the year, but you guys had a real chance to go out and win the conference tournament. So, if we'll first start with that, what was your team's reaction? How did you guys deal with, having your season cut short, due to a virus such as the coronavirus and having to, cut short a season that could have ended so well for you guys?
Yeah, it was devastating for us. It was devastating. It's hard to explain exactly the range of emotions that you feel. And, so for us, we had won 8 straight games. We hadn't lost in, I think, 35 or 40 days. And we were playing our best basketball. We had secured a double bye in the Sun Belt tournament, and we were in the semifinals and set to play that weekend. And kind of the backstory of what happened with us in the corona is I had the team over at my house on Wednesday. We were set to leave on Thursday to take a short trip to New Orleans. We were playing the Smoothie King Center, and we were set to practice and leave. And, we're sitting around and everybody's joking and, just, spending time together as a team. And all of a sudden the Rudy Gobert news hits. And, I got really quiet because I could just feel, that was getting ready to affect us and the rest of college basketball, even though it was an NBA situation, with an NBA guy out there as getting the coronavirus. I knew it would affect us, and I started to worry. And then the next morning they came out early. That Thursday, if you remember, they came out and they were saying they were going to have venues closed and, just immediate family or whatever, and we were going to be able to play. And so I felt pretty good. So my emotions went back up. And then next thing you know, I think it was the Big Ten maybe went first, and it came out on Twitter that they were suspending it. And I knew once a Power 5 conference decided to do that, everybody was going to kind of follow suit. So I was notified that we were done, that it was over. And, obviously our kids were here. They were getting taped, getting ready to practice. And I called a meeting in the locker room, and the tears, man, that were, it was really hard for our guys because, about our program here, we took over, man, and our kids had never won more than 14 games. And in year one, we won 17 games and finished on a strong note, went the furthest they'd been in the conference tournament in a while. And we came back this year, and this year we were picked to win the league. And it took us a minute to all come together. We had some new faces, and we were rolling. We were playing our best basketball. We just won number 20 and 8 in a row. And our kids that had been here, that had experienced some tough losses and all the pain that you go through to build something, they were right there, right there with 2 wins away, and, really had got to a point where our kids really felt like, we could do it. And to have it all taken away, to not get to see the final result was really hard. So that's what I hurt for the most, is our players. And not only ours, but all the guys around the country. You guys all play to have a chance to go to the NCAA tournament. And not only that, you play to get on that stage so you can help your professional career. Our guys had a chance to get on a stage that they're not on all the time. And I just hate it for our kids and all the players across the country.
I think that's something me and my brother can definitely resonate with. We had our conference tournament shut down in the MEAC tournament, man, and we were the last conference to cancel, literally, in the whole country.
You're right.
We were holding out hope for a long time. But I mean, looking back on it and just seeing like the effect that this has had on the world, do you think that was the right choice to kind of shut everything down, or do you wish that they maybe could let everybody kind of finish out their conference tournaments for the next couple of days and kind of just roll with it from there?
Selfishly, for my players and all players, because that's why we do this, is for the kids. Is selfishly, I wish they would have let us finish, but it was certainly the right decision. It was, the one thing you can't mess around with and be too cautious with is health. It's, and this was something that our nation had never seen before. It's really unique what we're going through right now, but it was certainly the right move. There's nothing more important than the health of our student athletes and coaches and fans across America. So, as much as I love hoops, and it's really a passionate, strong love that I have for basketball, nothing's more important than their health and well-being. So I think we made the right decision. As bad as I hate it for our kids, I would have hated even worse if we had some guys get sick or any players or coaches across America. So I'm glad that they did that. I think it was the right decision, but it is really painful to see your players hurt the way that ours did. I'm sure you guys did, and everybody across the country.
I mean, from that standpoint on, obviously we've seen, the canceling of the spring live period. We've seen, players, schools cannot have players, on campus, for visits. How has that affected you guys' your plans from a recruiting standpoint?
It's been really unique. We've never seen anything like this. And I told the staff when it happened that we've got to do a good job of taking advantage of the situation. Our staff has a different background than a lot of Division I staffs. A lot of us were at lower levels, pretty much all of us on my staff. It's kind of the guys that I gravitate towards is guys with a chip on their shoulder that have had to work and scrap and climb themselves up. So we're kind of used to, when I was an NAIA coach, we didn't have a budget to go fly here, fly there, go out and see guys. We'd assign some guys right here, from the office. So we've done pretty well. I love what we've been able to do. I really don't think for us, we may be an outlier. We may be, different from a lot of places, but I don't think we could have done any better if we could have got out. We've signed 2 guys in the spring, and we got a commitment from another one. I can't comment on the commitment, but he should sign the next day or so. But the guys that we signed, Deshaun Burke, who, was at Nebraska, second leading scorer for them, second in the Big Ten in steals. It was a great get, and we got him, and we got a D2 grad transfer, Kyle Goncalves, who made 100 threes at 47%, 6'8" kid. And both those guys were obviously heavily recruited. And then we got, we still got some more that have yet to sign. But what we've utilized is FaceTime. We've done a great job of just working relentlessly, and I think that's part of it, because nobody can come see you and you can't come to campus. So what can separate you? And that's how much time you put into developing that relationship and just working and showing guys that they're a priority. And I think we've done that. It's allowed us to get some guys that were heavily recruited. And, also I think we have a reputation in the transfer market. We've had a lot of success with transfers. In my 4 years as a head coach, I think we've signed 20 transfers. And the majority of those guys have been really, really successful. Their production has went up, and it's put them in position to be a pro, and they've went and done well with that route. So it's it's been pretty good for us. I just hate that we can't get them here. The thing I hate the most out of all of this is our kids are not on campus with us. I miss our guys. FaceTime them every day is not good enough. I miss our guys working out in the gym, watching games. We have a culture in our program where our dudes are around us all the time. They're in our office, they're in the players' lounge. We're watching hoops. We're arguing about who's better, MJ or LeBron. And it's just like, it's constant togetherness. And, I miss that, fellowship that we have and being together. That's the biggest thing for us.
Touched on it. You have quite the reputation for bringing in transfers and having success with transfers. What have you been able to do or implement kind of in your recruiting philosophy or with your program that you've been able to get a lot of these high-level guys? Even going back to your time at Clemson, getting a guy like Marquise Reed to come in and obviously be an all-ACC performer. How have you been able to lure some of these guys into your program? And I think what do you think has allowed you to be so successful with that?
I think there's really 2 things that go into it outside of obviously the work you put in recruiting guys and building that relationship and that trust. But 2 things that have made us extremely successful with transfers is, number one, we do a good job of evaluating. There's a million transfers out there. You guys know that. Obviously, you're breaking some of the commitments and following it really close. And guys in your program, and I think we've done a great job of that. And also I'm brutally honest. I think, I'm always brutally honest with when we recruit guys of exactly what it's going to be like here, exactly what they need to do to be successful here, and who I am as a person. And I think that's refreshing for kids. They want that. And, I think our program has something different that the majority of the programs out there don't have, and that's that family atmosphere. That family is the most used term in all of recruiting. I think every program in the country is going to tell you that, but what we do is we show you that. And they can see that when they come on visits with our current guys, when they talk to our current guys, and then they can really feel that when they come. And we've had unbelievable success with guys because of those things. The majority of the transfers on our roster, we beat out some kind of schools that, quote unquote, we shouldn't beat. And, it's because of the brand I think we've created of guys having success transferring to our place. And, I'm proud of that. And, we don't only recruit transfers. We've got really good high school kids coming in this year. We love what we've done there. And we got one of the best JUCO kids in the country coming in David Walker from Casper. So we try to have a great mix, but certainly our brand here is, and it was that at Nicholls State, is the transfer market. And I'm proud of that, man. I love getting guys in here and, helping them make their dreams and goals come true. And, some of the guys we get, they've struggled where they're at, or they may have excelled where they're at, like Marquise Reed, and wanted to kind of take a step up. And, Keese is one of my all-time favorites, man. He was just wired to score, man. I could tell stories about Keese because I actually left and took the Nicholls job the year that he became eligible. But we spent a year when I recruited him, and we worked out all year, man. Worked out all year like crazy. Keese and Shelton Mitchell and Eli Thomas, all those guys, we worked like crazy. And Keese just had a knack to score the ball, man. I don't know that I've ever coached a scorer like him. Just a knack to score. It didn't matter. And the funny thing about Keese is he didn't care who he was playing against. And I love that. I try to recruit guys like that. We were playing Duke one night. This is a funny story, man. We were playing Duke one night. So Luke Kennard was out there, and he was hooping. He was like a freshman. And Keese was sitting out. And Keese was like, dang, who is that? And Luke Kennard's obviously McDonald's All-American. And somebody on the bench, I think it was Eli, said, man, that's Luke Kennard, man. He's McDonald's All-American. Keese said, I didn't know who he was. He never cared about any of that. And I think that's one of the reasons he was so successful playing the ACC. He didn't care. Like, he was going to go out there and he was going to give you buckets. It didn't matter who you were. And I think that's a trait that I look for in recruiting kids. In the era of social media, so many guys get caught up in thinking this guy's that and this guy. At the end of the day, you lace them up and you strut and you go out there and it's 40 minutes of playing. Doesn't matter what your rep is or who says you're good. You got to line up and play. And I think Keese, had that mentality more so than any kid I've ever coached.
Speaking of transfers, there's a rule that's getting ready to get voted on, pretty soon in the coming weeks or months here, about the immediate eligibility for a one-time transfer. So how do you think that this rule is going to affect, college basketball, obviously from a mid-major standpoint and, from a high-major standpoint, from, the high school kids that might not get recruited as much because kids are going to be looking, teams might be looking, intercollegiately for players. How do you think this is going to affect college basketball as a whole?
I think it's going to be really interesting to see how it all plays out. Our transfer numbers are outrageous right now. And, a lot of guys are transferring with the assumptions they're going to have to sit. If they don't have to sit, you can double that number easily. You can double it. We'll be up into 1,600 to 2,000 transfers every year if we do this. In my opinion, it's kind of to each its own. You got to make the right decision either way. But this is going to make it a lot easier for guys to leave. And the reason I do this, guys, is for the players. And I want every kid, you guys are hoopers, so you worked your whole life to get to the position that you're in. And you deserve to kind of make your own decisions for what's best for your career. And I tell every kid that. So I'm not one of these guys that are dead set against it. I do think if we could make some rules and adjustments to where maybe a certain GPA, maybe something just to kind of keep this thing at bay, that may help, because it's going to be wild. I'm telling you, it's going to be wild. And you made a great point. It's going to affect some high school kids because, there'll be some programs that without guys sitting out, you can grab a freshman that produced already at the Division I level and you essentially have him for 3 years. Yeah. And he doesn't have to sit. So I think it's going to be really interesting at how it all unfolds. I think some kids are going to make some bad decisions, and some will make some good decisions. But I worry about the effect it can have on our game. But I'm not one of these coaches that's dead set against it. I don't mind trying it and seeing how it plays out. But obviously, if it doesn't play out in an effective way, I think then we have to adjust things. That's with anything that you try. I think we can't be afraid to make adjustments if there are issues with it.
I mean, in a sense, a lot of coaches have said that. I mean, instead of trying to build a program, you're kind of just trying to build a team every year as opposed to trying to build a program over 4 years. You almost have to evaluate and recruit your own players at the end of every season to kind of stay with your team if you're a mid-major school. How do you think that like as a coach at the mid-major level, what would be a strategy that you can maybe kind of keep your guys around as opposed to having them jump ship somewhere else?
Yeah, it's a great point. It's really dangerous because if you recruit a freshman like a Marquise Reed, for example, and he comes in, he averages 17 points, then a high major is probably going to poach him, man. And that's something that we're going to have to deal with. And it's scary, man. It's scary. You almost, from a coaching perspective, you want to get those transfers because they used to one time, and then who's in your program for the rest of the time. But, I think for us, we're going to recruit the best players that we can recruit, that they're the right character guys that fit what we do. I won't be afraid to recruit a freshman and trust that our culture and who we are and the success that they have in their everyday life playing for our staff and playing at South Alabama is something that'll keep them here to do something special. The thing we talk about all the time is we want you to blaze your own trail. We want you to take South Alabama to new heights. Why go somewhere else where they've already done that? You got a chance right here to be the face of a program to emerge into something that, is nationally known if we can take it to that level. And you get a chance to be the face of it and be a main reason why we do that. So that's something we preach a lot. And I think our culture stands on its own. I think who we are every single day with our players, how much we care about them, the time that we put into their development, not only as a player, but as them becoming a better man. I think all the things we do within our program here helps guys want to stay here. We recruit really well, I think. We've done a good job with that, but we've also had really good retention. Guys want to stay here and they want to continue to try to build something really special.
Obviously, I mean, you mentioned in your last answer, just trying to build something special at South Alabama. You guys have obviously already been fortunate enough to win 20 games for the first time since you've been there, and get picked to win the league. And obviously, this morning you signed a contract extension through 2024. What is your goals for South Alabama? In the next coming years?
Yeah, we want to continue to. When I took the job 2 years ago, we talked about being the team that not just competes to win championships, but we're expected to. And you got to raise your program to another level when you're expected to win championships. I mean, you name schools across the country that we expect to win their league every year, and it's the who's who of great programs, and those programs sustain success. And we got to do a good job of continuing to climb. We're not nearly there yet. We got to continue to climb and put ourselves in that position where we are expected to win every single year, and then we have to deliver. We have to, and you only do that through how you build your program. Number one, with the players, you got to have really good players. Like I said, I think we're unique how we play offensively, defensively. I think our culture is really good, but all that doesn't work unless you have really, really good players. And we got to continue to do that, and we've got to continue to elevate. We've been here. This is going to be year 3, and we elevated from when we took the job, year one, we took it to another level. Year two, we took it to another level. So this year, we got to take another step. And this past season, we didn't get to see the end result. We didn't get to see the final product, and I hate that because I think we may have had a special ending. But we got to take it to another level next season and continue to grow this program. I'm big into continuing to grow. We can't stay the same. We can't stay the same. We have to improve, and that's each individual player. That's everything we do as a staff within this program, and we've got to continue to grow and build this thing where it is one of the power mid-majors in the country, and we have the resources to do that here. Our administration's great, and we have the facilities. We have everything we need. We just got to make sure that we continue to grow and build this program into what it has the capabilities to be.
I don't know if all the questions I have for you, Coach Aaron. Is there anything more that you wanted to ask?
I mean, now my last question is for you. I mean, obviously, congrats on the contract extension, man, and thanks for coming on with us this morning. We really appreciate you for coming on and talking to us. Obviously, we know there's a lot of things that you guys could be doing during this time, so thank you. We appreciate your time, and best of luck to you guys at South Alabama.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thanks for the congratulations. It's an honor to be the head coach here. I say it all the time. It's an awesome place to be, great people to be around, and I think we're building something really special. So I'm excited to see what we can do with it. And for you guys are doing a great job. I want to let you know that. I think it's awesome what you're doing. I think it shows how motivated both you guys are, and it's really unique to see two young guys like you working the way that you are and really creating something that's really cool. You're giving players a platform to announce news and commit. You're talking to coaches. You're talking to guys that are, out of college. Just the diversity of what you guys are doing right now it's much needed. I've been watching your stuff, and I was honored to be on, and just keep doing what you're doing, man. It's an entertainment for everybody, and it brightens up a lot of people's day to see you guys on here talking to people.
Thanks a lot, Coach, man.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, Coach. Wish you guys the best of luck, man.
You too.